thank you to everyone that joins at the start of the stream. It makes me feel less lonely. And today we're going to be talking about mascots, mascot logos, mascot figures. What's the difference? Would you want one or the other? Would you want both? Would you want neither? You know, so it's just, going to be a fairly fun one. I think, I'm a big fan of mascots. I think they work really well when they're used correctly. And sometimes you get mascots where you wonder what people were thinking when when you see the actual mascot. But I suppose that's one of the things about mascots is that they grab your attention, and they have an impact, and you remember them. And so that's one of the reasons for having them. I have found a website as well, actually, which I want us to go through. I want to try and keep this to an hour today. I have a tendency to make these a bit longer, but I want to try to keep it concise. So I've found a website that has brand mascots on it, and we need to guess the names of the mascots. So I do like to have a little bit of interactivity on the live streams, and it lets us see, I suppose, whether these mascots are doing their job. If we can remember their names easily, then they're having an impact on us, aren't they? And that's going to mean brand familiarity, which means that the money that's being spent promoting these brand mascots is working, because we make an association between this figure or this representative of the brand and the product or service that they're essentially selling to us. So I thought we could, wait and see how many people join. But what I would like for the people who are watching, do you have when you think about a brand mascot, when you think about something which represents a brand that what's the brand mascot that pops into your head first? What's the one you think of first? So, for example, for me, it's probably Tony the Tiger from Kellogg's Frosties. I loved Kellogg's Frosties as a kid, and Tony the Tiger, was always on the TV adverts saying they're great. And I'm pretty sure I used to go around saying that catchphrase all the time. But it's always good to know what other people think. I mean, I've got a couple. I know there are people watching right now, so you must. It doesn't even have to be your favorite mascot. Just what's a mascot that pops into your head? A brand representative that pop it into the chat, and it might be that you can't think of anything, which would surprise me. But so Fuad's saying Kentucky is the first that comes to mind. Okay, so you're thinking of the Colonel then. So you've got the Colonel in your mind, and it's actually I'm quite glad you said that, Fuad, because there is when it comes to mascots, there are mascots which are based on real people who are related to the brand, and then there are mascots which are completely made up. They're fictional figures which are created purely as a brand representative. So the Colonel, is an example of a real person, who started the franchise and became, was the face of the brand, and is just inseparable from it. And he had quite a lot. He had a very unique look to him. With the little sort of tie that he has, and the white hair and the white moustache, the white little goatee beard, is very, very recognizable. So you can understand why that was taken through and used as the logo. So that's an example of a brand mascot logo. And so what I want to do is I've got if I go to my desktop, I've got some examples here of brand mascot logos and then brand mascot figures. And there is a slight difference between between the two of them. You've got, when it comes to the brand mascot logos, you have inside the logo. So here we've got, so let's just go through them. We've got the Colonel in KFC. We've got Wendy's, I'm presuming from Wendy's. Wendy from Wendy's. We don't have Wendy's here in the UK, but the brand is, big enough that I know who they are. And then you've got Quaker for Quaker Oats. You've got the Pringles guy, MailChimp, the email software company, and you've got the Linux Penguin. So those are more recognizable as logo mascots. They've got people in them, and they are there to represent the brand as logos. On the flip side of that, you've got brand mascot figures who aren't in the brand's logo, but they are a physical representation of the brand's personality or what that brand is trying to get across in personality. And so we've got Mickey Mouse for Disney. Obviously Mickey was the first character. I suppose Mickey's almost like the Colonel for KFC. Mickey was like the first cartoon. I think it was Steamboat Willie for Disney, and so Mickey became the brand representative for the Disney company. Then Tony the Tiger that I mentioned from Kellogg's Frosties. Then you've got Ronald McDonald. You've got the Duracell Bunny. We've got the King from Burger King, which I will be very, very honest and say freaks me out. It's just so freaky. That mask, I think as well, because the head is out of proportion from the rest of the body, and I don't know if anyone else feels that way about the King from Burger King, but it just gives me the absolute creeps. I don't find it fun. I don't find it endearing. I just find it really, really creepy. And then we've got the two M&M characters, and I'm not entirely sure. I think they've got names, but I couldn't tell you what they are off the top of my head. But these have been created to give the brand or the product or the service, in these instances it's products, a character and a personality, which it probably wouldn't otherwise have. Ronald McDonald selling burgers, but they wanted something that could interact with the customer, so they created him. I find him a bit creepy as well, to be honest, but not as creepy as the King. But the thing with having brand mascot figures is they can be much more interactive. They tend to be aimed more at children as well, rather than adults. So you will find a lot of brands that are selling products and services that are aimed at children. A lot of them will have mascots. So I'm just checking the chat. Who had saying a mascot is a person or a thing that's supposed to bring good luck, especially one linked to a particular organization or event. Why does this relate to logos? I don't know. I think you could say, like a mascot does originate from that, probably. A lot of people would say that was more like a lucky charm. So you would have like some people have a rabbit's foot or whatever, so they have a lucky charm. I've never really called it a mascot, so it's interesting that may well be the origination of it. I wouldn't say that in terms of logos that the brand mascot is there to bring luck. I suppose we all want luck in terms of good luck in finding customers, but I don't think it's done for that purpose. Having a brand mascot for as part of your brand, whether it be in the logo or as a separate figure, is there to bring familiarity and, as I've mentioned, to help the brand get across personality. It's difficult sometimes when you have certain brands, and like I say, you might have a product that just has no what can you do with it? Other than features and benefits, how do you get the brand personality out there? Well, create Ronald McDonald, create a little bunny, and so that, the bunny has, if you think about the tortoise and the hare, then, the hare was, always running around really fast and stuff. So there's a bit of a connection there between that, and he's always got energy because he's got these batteries in his back. So they're getting across the energy and the hyperactivity that, Duracell batteries can give you and sustain, because they've got so much energy in them that they just keep you going and going. And so the rabbit was a good way to do that, and it was a fun way to do it. And the thing with having brand mascot figures as well is that they can adapt to special occasions. So for Christmas, they could, be wearing sort of Santa outfits. If it's mostly, if it's Halloween, they could be dressed up in Halloween costumes. You can do a lot with them. They're really, really flexible. Just try to check my notes here. Merchandising as well is another one. If you've got a brand mascot figure, you've got tons of scope for merchandising. Might not be linked directly to your actual main product, but any revenue stream that you can have from a mascot is good. Any extra money you can bring in, and sometimes the mascots can become more famous than the brand, and it's not always just products and services that have brand mascot figures. You think about sports teams. Pretty much every sports team has its mascot, which and in that instance, I think, going back to what you said, Fuad, about it being good luck, maybe that works better for team mascots. You've got the team mascot that goes out halftime, the start of the game, gets the audience going, falling around, running around, doing silly things. But it's the team's mascot, so it brings them good luck to have that mascot. So in that way, it's probably different to a brand that has a product or service that's trying to sell you something, compared to a team that has a mascot that's there to invigorate the crowd and interact with the crowd. But then you've got this sort of crossover as well between brands and sports teams, where the mascot's kind of doing that thing. It's that interaction. It's the interaction with the audience, and that's where those two things cross over. With brand mascot logos, you can do some of the stuff that I mentioned. If it's Halloween or if it's Christmas or whatever, any special occasion, you can change the logo to reflect that. I mean, in the last year, some brands have actually, because of the pandemic, which has been going on, some brands put masks on their logos and, just try and connect with people and, say that they're listening or whatever, or, that they're going through this as well as they are. You can do that with the logo version of it, but it's not going to be as in your face as a brand mascot figure that can be out and about in the streets, actually, touching people, physically being there. And so I find that for me, those tend to be the most effective. Now, a mascot logo is not going to be right for everyone. I've already mentioned that, a lot of brands that deal in sort of maybe in cereals, breakfast cereals, toys, junk food. You've got like McDonald's, Ronald McDonald, you've got the Scary King. They're not, they get a bad press for targeting children, just for, obesity and stuff. And things are changing a little bit, but back when I was a kid, that stuff was all over TV, and you had these brand mascot figures on TV just, there all the time. And they were attractive to children. The kids interacted with them, loved them, had toys. The cereal, you would get free toys in the cereal, free gifts, and it would, might be the characters or something to do with them. If it was just a toy, the character would probably be on it somewhere, or the colours of a, Ronald McDonald, like red, yellow, and white might be the colour of the toy. So there's this really fixed memory for me of these brand mascot figures. More and more people are kind of drifting away from watching TV. So it's more difficult for companies to get in front of people with their adverts. People are using ad blockers when they're browsing and things. So another way you can use your brand mascots is at events, So if you're organizing events, or again, like sports events, brands could sponsor those sports events, or big events, could even be music festivals. They can sponsor them, and they can have their brand mascots walking around, raising brand awareness. They would also have their logo, obviously, plastered everywhere. But again, you've got this figure walking around. And generally, the mascots are going to be animals or human figures. You do sometimes get like weirdly abstracted ones. I don't think they work as well as animals or human ones, because people engage with those better. But they have been done. But like I say, not every brand's going to suit having a mascot. If you think about, if you were a funeral director, you're not going to have a mascot. You're not going to have a brand mascot. What would you have? You can't have something which is quirky and fun, because that's not what you're trying to get across. Is having a mascot that's somber and sincere really what you want? Not really. So in that instance, you're just not going to go down that side of things. Something like the tech industry, you may think you can't, but then you look at something like Linux, and you've got the penguin, and that's representative of Linux. But I think that's a rare case. I think most of the time when you're in sort of the tech space, they don't really have brand mascots. I'm not going to, Lawrence kind of posted a question. I'll let anyone who's watching this read that in chat, because YouTube can pick up on what I'm saying, and I don't want to get flagged for bringing up specific topics. But I will answer no to that question. But even I've got a photo of me. I'm 4 or 5, and I'm at the circus, and I don't know if it's all over the world or not, but we've got Sugar Puffs, and Sugar Puffs has a brand mascot called the Honey Monster. And there's a photo of me and my brother, and we're in the centre of the ring at the circus, and the Honey Monster's there. Black and white photo. I'm that old that the photo's in black and white. But that's an example of where, I was at the circus, but I don't know why the Honey Monster was there. I don't know if they'd sponsored this circus or whatever. I imagine that was the case. But that's an example of a brand getting in front of a family audience to promote their breakfast cereal at an occasion where people aren't thinking about breakfast cereals. So, you can get in front of people in situations with brand mascot figures that you probably wouldn't think, would be the place to do it. So you can do that. Let's see, what have I got here? One of the things that I want to touch on as well is that, most of the time they're designed to be cute. And fun, but like I say, I find the Burger King guy a bit creepy. And then there have been some pretty creepy sports ones as well. I was having a look around before, just getting some stuff together for this stream, and found a couple of ones which look pretty pretty scary. So we've got Kingsley from Partick Thistle. Partick Thistle is Partick is it's just outside of Glasgow in Scotland, and Partick Thistle is their football team, and they have this rather frightening brand mascot called Kingsley, which looks like a nightmare version of Lisa Simpson, if you ask me. Just absolutely, I don't know what it's meant to be, but it's frightening. But it's memorable, and you got to kind of take these things into account as well. It's like, when you're creating logos, you want them to be unique, versatile, adaptable, and I'm always forgetting, distinctive. Now, is it simple, memorable, distinctive, and appropriate? So Kingsley's distinctive when it comes to being a brand mascot, as is Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, I'm pretty sure I've seen some video online of Gritty, and he just seems like an absolute maniac. But it is ice hockey, and the scenes that you get from ice hockey is pretty crazy. And just, I know that he's well loved by the Philadelphia Flyers. Their supporters and stuff. He's just made this massive following. But I think I know it's the eyes. It's those staring, unblinking eyes are just so weird. They just like burn through your soul. And then you've got this rather scary king cake baby for the New Orleans Pelicans. I've no idea why it's this. I haven't looked into it. But again, just so scary, but memorable. When I think of these three mascots, they are, pretty memorable. Lawrence saying Big Boy from Big Boy Restaurants. Yeah, it does remind me of that. It's got that kind of that feel about it. Although, Big Boy from the Big Boy Restaurants is a lot more cute. And the Big Boy also makes me think of, when I think of that brand mascot, the Big Boy one, reminds me of like the Fallout games. If anyone's played the Fallout games, that sort of gives you an instant 1950s sort of feel. Also reminds me of like Funko Pops as well. Like Funko have the Funko character. It's kind of got that 50s sort of feel to it as well. So, talking about that, there's me talking about how the brand mascots for those brands give me a certain feeling of a time, of, a sense of style. It instantly gives me that, the way that I'm thinking of that. And with the Big Boy Restaurants one, when I think about sort of that reminding me of the 50s and thinking about 1950s diners and how those were laid out and like the table service and stuff, it gives a uniqueness to that area of a service. And that's what you want your mascot to do as well. You want people to think of that mascot as unique to your brand. Kellogg's use quite a few mascots. So it might be, you got a brand like McDonald's and you've got Ronald McDonald. I'm pretty sure McDonald's had another mascot as well. I don't know, maybe someone can say whether Ronald McDonald had like a sidekick. Is it a thief or something? Was it the Hamburglar or something? So I think it is the Hamburglar. I think that's McDonald's. So that's another, the Hamburglar is another mascot, but obviously Ronald McDonald is the main one. And that, hey Na, thanks for joining. Appreciate you coming on the stream. If you've got any questions or anything, pop them into the chat. Yeah, so, some brands have got multiple characters and the specific brand mascot character is for a specific product. So, Kellogg's, we've got Tony for Frosties. We've got Snap, Crackle and Pop for Rice Krispies. We've got Coco the Monkey for Cocoa Pops. The Sun is called Sunny. I think that's for Raisin Bran. Then we've got Sam the Toucan for Fruit Loops. And then we've got Dig'em for Honey Smacks. Now, I've never really seen Honey Smacks, so I don't know if that's just an American thing. Maybe in the UK, but I've never had that. I think Honey Smacks is the same as Sugar Puffs. I was talking about Honey Monster earlier on, so I was more of a Sugar Puffs kid for cereal. And then you've got Cornelius for the cornflakes. And then you can think about other brands like Nestle and stuff who've got their own characters. And like I mentioned before, cereals tend to be aimed more at children. You've got your more grown-up fibre type cereals and porridge oats and things like that, which don't really use childlike characters. But when it comes to more, let's say, the cereals which are maybe not the best for you, the sugary ones, you've got these cartoon characters plastered all over them because it's attractive to kids. And the kids pester their parents because they want that cereal because they like that character. It's not because they particularly like the cereal, probably. Not in the first instance. The character, that brand mascot, is what's attracting the child to that cereal. Probably a free gift as well. Don't even know if you're allowed to have free gifts anymore. Probably health and safety, I don't know. But I know that that's how I was when I was a kid. It was always like, go to the one which I'd seen on TV the most, and the one that spoke to me, and then I got used to eating very sugary Frosties all the time. So they do work, and they are powerful figures. And when it comes to developing a brand mascot, this is where you really need to, you could have a brand mascot logo, and let's say it's the Colonel from KFC, right? If you're creating a logo for KFC, then you'd be like, okay, so it's the Colonel, so we're going to, it's pretty straightforward. Let's do an illustration of the Colonel for that. But when you're doing some of the other ones, like let's say Pringles or MailChimp or a brand mascot figure, you're trying to imbue a personality type from the brand. And so you need to make sure that you've done, and this is something that I get onto every week, is the strategic side of brand identity. And your brand mascot is, part of your identity. It's the physical manifestation of the strategic side. So the strategic side of your brand is building meaning, because you want your brand to have meaning and purpose. And then your identity side, that visual side, is transmitting that meaning. It visualizes it all for people to kind of interact and see it. So in order to create a brand mascot that's going to connect with the audience that you're trying to, attract, you need to make sure that you've done, you understand your brand archetypes, the different personalities that, the personality elements that make up the tone of your brand. Most brand mascot figures are going to be fun. That's why they're there. Can't think of any really serious ones. They all tend to have a fun element. But you still want to have some slight differences in the personality of it, and get the meaning across from your brand. Let me just have a drink and read the chat. Food's telling me that McDonald's have four mascots: Birdie, Grimace, Hamburglar, and Ronald. I did not know that. I only knew that they had Hamburglar and Ronald. That's interesting. Fun Science is asking, what is the best and free application for creating the logos? I don't really know any I know there are logo makers out there. There's logo maker software out there, but I really don't know about them because I just steer well clear of them because it's just not something I do. In terms of software I use, it's it's more hardware. It's a pencil and a sketchbook, sketch out ideas for the logos, and then I use my design software to take my sketches and flesh them out. I haven't really designed brand mascots. I did one many years ago for the Forestry Commission in Scotland, and I had to design a little character for when they went into schools and they wanted to kind of convey what they did, what the Forestry Commission did. And so I created this little ladybird character that they could use, and it could have different, poses and things for different when they're using slides. This was a long time ago. It's about 20 years ago I did that. I must dig that out and see where that is. But to get back to your question about free software, my personal opinion is I stay away from logo maker software because that to me isn't how a logo should be built. A logo should be built, created based on what I've talked about, strategy, strategic elements and goals and stuff. A logo isn't just a pretty picture that you plonk in some keywords into a website. You say, oh, I'm an accountant. There's my accountancy name. Hit the button and it says, here's some logo suggestions for you. Technically, that's logo creation, but it's not good logo creation. So I would say the best free application for creating logos is in here. Your brain, best free application you've got. And just start, watching, probably, look at Skillshare for, logo design courses, things like that. Learn about logo design and practice sketching. I know that there are some places that do, logo challenges and things like that, 30-day logo challenges. That will start to get you thinking creatively. I personally would stay away from logo making websites. In terms of software for designing, if you're going to be drawing sketches and stuff, and then you want to, create your logos on screen, Illustrator, Photoshop, they're going to cost you money, and it's a subscription, so it's month on month on month. Cheaper version of that would be the Affinity suite of software. I think they've still got a discount on just now, 50% off. So if you look up Affinity Designer and Affinity Photo, really if you're doing logos though, Affinity Designer is the one that you want. If you want absolutely free, then I'm trying to think. Well, let's just have a look. Let's just bring up the web, and let's just have a look. Okay, free, and I'm doing a search for free vector software, because you want to be creating your logos as vector graphics. Don't create logos in things like Photoshop and stuff, because then you're creating bitmaps. Yeah, that's the one I was trying to remember. So you've got Inkscape. Inkscape's pretty decent, and then you've got Vector as well. I would say Inkscape's decent. It's creating a logo in a logo maker. Will it be possible that it will be the right thing for us, or the copyright that we're using? I couldn't tell you. I mean, it's software which is generating these logos, so there is a good chance that it will give you a symbol and and the name of your company, and that might look similar to someone else's. The only thing which is different is the name. So I don't know. You could run into some copyright trademark issues. And the thing is as well, if you are using these free logo makers and they're churning out logo designs, can you actually trademark what that gives you? If it's using a limited base of symbols and fonts, then at some point there will be duplicates coming out, even though the name might be different. But if the symbol's the same, and then someone trademarks that, and then this system creates a logo which uses the same symbol, can this company that had it first sue your company because you're now using a logo which is similar to theirs? I don't know what the legalities are of that, but who knows where the copyright and trademarking would lie with those types of applications. I would hope they have something in their terms and conditions that would explain, what that is. It might even be that you can't. They might have in their terms and conditions that you can't trademark anything that comes out of their software, because they may say that they own what's generated, because you're not paying for it, or it might be that it'll generate a logo and then you can download a JPEG of it for free, but then if you want to have a vector version of it, you probably have to pay some money for it, and that's how they make their money. Because really you do need a vector version of your logo just for that versatility of resizing it and using it properly. I'd be wary of it. If you were needing a logo for like a craft fair or a one-off event and you haven't got any budget, then fine, go and use that. It's a one-off thing to go on a poster. The event happens and then the logo never gets used again. But if you're creating a logo for a business, then I would give anything like that a wide berth. And as I say, I would just, I would go down the old-fashioned route of creating a logo, using your creativity. If you haven't got that, if you're not a designer, then there are designers out there who are not, they are inexpensive and fairly decent. So you can get one. You just want to again make sure that that what you're getting is original and it's not just copied. That's one of the risks you take when you go down the very, very cheap route, is that there is a chance that logos are being copied and just changed a little bit, different name, change a color here or there, but really it's copying someone else's. So just be careful of that. I would draw it, sketch it, and learn to use some of the free software which is out there. I'm not saying, it's up to you whether you use the logo makers. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying you need to be very aware of the potential for issues and problems further down the line if you do use those bits of software. Is Paint a good logo designer for your logo? No. I wouldn't use Paint. I would definitely, take a look at Inkscape, take a look at vector.com, use a proper, piece of software which has been created for making, vector graphics. Inkscape is very powerful. I've used it before. I've done a couple of tutorials, I think, on how to create graphics for WordPress or something a while ago. But Inkscape's it's a good place to get started. It really is. I wouldn't ignore that. Hey Donna, thanks for joining. Gutsy here. Hey Priestess Zoldria. That's an interesting name. Thanks for joining. Fun Science saying, thanks, I'm a student, 11 years. I'm thankful for your videos, making your channel. I really appreciate it. And I used some of your tips before and I impressed my father. Good for you. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos. I'm glad you're learning from it. And I'm glad you're asking these questions. I don't, I understand as well that, not everyone's got the budget to buy software and things, but there are always ways to create logos. There's so much good free software out there that you can use rather than relying on, these logo maker sites. I just wouldn't, just try to stay away from them. Feel free to use them, put in some words and see what they throw out. It might throw something out, a design out that you're like, oh, there's something about that. I'm going to go away and I'm going to create my own logo, but there's something in that one I think I could do better than that. And, then you create your own one. There's nothing wrong with using stuff for inspiration. Especially if you're stuck. There's nothing worse than when you're trying to come up with logo concepts and you just can't think of anything. Usually in that instance, I'll just go away and do some reading, or I'll go out for a walk or something, and stuff will pop into my head. I try not to force it. As soon as you try and force logo designs, it gets really difficult. Fuad's saying Compute Vision is a website to help you find out if your logo was copied or stolen. Right, there you go. You're welcome. I'm glad I pronounced it right. I get so many, unusual names. Unusual for me, probably not unusual for people where they are in whatever part of the world they're from. But for this Scotsman, there are some names which are difficult to pronounce. So I'm glad when I get them right. If I don't get them right, I'm happy for people to correct me to make sure that I do get it right. So let's have a little look here and see if we can get some people to let's have a look at these and see if we can get the names of these mascots. Right. So I know this one. So this one is Tony the Tiger, and then Fuad's going to know this one. So I'm not sure how far behind the chat is, so I don't know whether I'll just run through these and you can play along as well, and if you get it right, give yourself a gold star. Okay, so this is Colonel Sanders. Fun Science is asking how to make your logo stick to the viewers, like McDonald's. Well, when you think about it, it's, they've spent a lot of money, and a long, long time, many, many, many years to get that, to have that brand mascot really embedded in people's memories. So it can take a lot of hard work to do that. Things are a bit easier these days because we've got the internet and we've got social media, so you can reach a wide audience. But it does take time. Time is the biggest thing, and then the second biggest thing is money. If you've got a lot of money, then you can just blanket people with it. But there are ways to do. There's been lots of clever marketing campaigns where budgets have been next to nothing, but they've created good stories, or they've managed to create a video that's gone viral. Now, there's no guarantee that you can create a viral video. You can't go into something going, we're creating a viral video, because it probably won't be viral. Viral videos tend to happen just randomly. It's like when I create videos, if I spend a long time creating a video which I think is going to be successful and a lot of people are going to want to watch, and then it doesn't get many views, and then I'll do a video which took me 10 minutes to do, and it gets lots of views and everybody likes it, and it's and it's like crazy. It's just one of those things that you can't plan it. But when it comes to getting people to remember your logo, it's just about getting it out there, and marketing it. There's no shortcuts really. I'm not a marketing person. I'm a designer. I do brand strategy and stuff. I don't, I know enough to market my own business and give some advice, but really I'm not a marketing person. I don't really come up with marketing plans. That's a speciality in itself, and one that I kind of don't need clogging up my head. I would rather speak to a marketing expert to help me with that than try to do it myself. And I think that's the thing. We all try to do everything ourselves, and then you end up doing it badly. So I know, again, comes down to budgets. Can you afford to hire a marketing person? Probably not. In that case, then the best thing you can do is study marketing. Look at examples, look at campaigns, famous campaigns that were hugely successful. What did they do? How can you leverage that in today's market space? What can you do that's maybe a little bit different that can catch people's attention? That would get your brand noticed. So Fuad's saying he didn't know that it was Colonel Sanders for KFC. It's interesting, isn't it? You know the logo, and you know it's KFC, but most mascots have names. And that's, I suppose, the point of this quiz is like we recognize the mascot as the first thing. We might know the brand or product that they're representing, but do we know the name of the mascot as well? If you know all three, then you've probably either you're a brand person like me and you kind of study this stuff, or you really, really like the product and you're really close to it. Right. So who have we got? Yeah. So we've got this is Toucan Sam, and we've got the Pillsbury Doughboy. So, I don't know. I only know him as the Pillsbury Doughboy. I don't know his name. I'm going to take a guess that it's Doughie B. Pillsbury. Nope. Wrong. So his name's Poppin' Fresh. I've seen this Kool-Aid guy usually crashing through walls and stuff, but this is an American thing again. We don't have Kool-Aid here in the UK. So I'm going to think it's Kool-Aid guy. Nope. Kool-Aid man. Not doing very well at this. I don't know what this one is at all. So this is a cleaning one. Let's go for Mr. Clean. Good guess on my part. This is Chester Cheetah from Cheetos. I'm pretty sure it's Chester. Yep. Again, more of an American brand than a UK one, but you do get Cheetos are kind of coming over here into the UK. This one's a rather easy one. So we've got Mario here, and obviously Mario is a bit like Mickey Mouse for Disney. Mario was one of the first characters that they had in their games. I think he first appeared in Donkey Kong, but I don't think he was called Mario at that point. I think he was just kind of like the plumber or something. And then he became Mario in Super Mario Brothers. Esteban, hello, sorry for being late. I'll watch this from the beginning once it's uploaded later. That's fine. Good to have you here. It's no problem being late. Like I say, there's always the replay. Just to let you know that for the first minute, there's no audio. So, you'll see me miming for a minute, so you can always fast forward that bit. Thankfully, a couple of the guys were on early enough to let me know that I had no audio. Okay, so I didn't know that this was a brand mascot. I've seen this guy, but only in memes. So I didn't know what it was from. I don't know what it is. I'm going to go for the most interesting man in the world. just because I think he is, and just the way the memes are worded and how he talks on it, I think that's how that comes across. Okay, I don't know what. Does anyone know what this mascot would be? Looks like it's like a cake, brand. What do we think? Lazy Susan, I think Lazy Susan is a kitchen tool or something. I'm sure it is. So I'm going to go for Little Debbie. Gold star for me. I'll see you later, Fun Science. Thanks for coming on and thanks for your questions. And thank you for watching the videos and being a subscriber to the channel. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time. There's no little... Lauren's saying Little Daisy. There's no Daisy there. It's Little Debbie. Lucky Charms. Okay, so... It's got to be Lucky, hasn't it? Lucky the leprechaun? Yeah, that makes sense. That was an easy one. The rabbit or the hare from Nesquik. I think he's called Hops. Oh, no, he's not. He's called Quickie. Of course he is. Of course he is. It's called Nesquik. We've got Ronald McDonald. So let's just get rid of him because that's pretty creepy, pretty scary. And we know these guys because we've talked about them as well. Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Name this brand mascot for Progressive Insurance. No idea. No idea. This is where I wish I had more American people come on to the live streams because I think they would really help. So, what do we think? Pop in the chat what we think. So Esteban thinks it's Flo. Anyone else think it's different, or are we going to go for Flo? Right, Flo it is. Gold stars for you two. Gold stars. Name this brand mascot for Butterfinger. Didn't know he was a mascot for something else. So that's interesting, that they've taken, a cartoon character in and of itself that wasn't created for, or I don't think so, that wasn't created for the actual product, but then they've leveraged The Simpsons to promote their product. And I was just saying earlier on, I don't know the names of these two. So, it might be, I think it's Freddie and Teddy, isn't it? I'm sure I've heard one of them say Teddy in one of the adverts. I'm going to go for that. Oh, man alive. They're actually called Red and Yellow. That's original. That's Uncle Ben's. I don't know. I think that's got to be Mr. Peanut. Yep. I'm just whizzing through these now because I'm aware of the time. I didn't know that Domino's Pizza had a brand mascot. So this is a new one on me. So all you pizza fans out there, who is it? Is it the droid? Is it the Noid? Is it the nerd? Or is it the nut? Who's getting the gold star? Because I'm going to have to guess otherwise. Right, Mobius 8 says it's the nut. Oh, okay, yeah, so the droid gets ruled out because I can see there's an N there. Right, let's go for the nut. Oh, I know, I clicked on the wrong one. Oh, man alive. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I clicked on the nut. I meant to click on the Noid. So you still get the gold star. I get the wooden spoon. Oh, man. Live streaming nerves. I don't know. I can't believe. Why did I click on the nut? Anyway. Why is he called the Noid? All right, so it says here, but it hasn't had a major presence in the company's advertisements since the 1980s. So that's probably why, because I don't think I don't really remember Domino's being around in the 80s much. It was always Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut was the big pizza place that I knew. I don't know this mouse character either. I've had to guess. I would say it was Chuck E. Cheese. Something weird about his nose. Looks like it's been hit with a. So Mobius is saying that the slogan for the Domino's guy was "Avoid the Noid." Avoid the Noid. Okay. So weird. Honestly, it's the thinking that goes into some of these brand mascots. You just wonder what was happening around the table when they come up with them. Right, I'm going to go with Chuck E. Cheese. Got that right. Name the brand mascot for Hamburger Helper. Again, never heard of it. Looking at the hand, so it's a left hand. Is that a left? Yeah, so it's a left hand. So go for lefty. Some Sherlock Holmes deduction there. I don't know the name of it, and this is one where I knew instantly that this was for Mad Magazine, but I didn't know that it had a name. I'm going to go for Archie. Wrong. Geez, there's a lot in here. I'm just going to whiz through them now. Don't know. Name this brand mascot. Blah blah. I'm going to Chaos. Nope. Does anyone know the Pringles guy? Mr. Pringles? George Pringles? Oh, Esteban's annoyed at me. There's 4 exclamation marks after Mayhem. Maybe I should slow down a bit. I think that I think you guys are catching up. I think you're about 10 seconds behind. So I'm not giving you time to type. So if you know the Pringles guy, put it in and we'll guess it. Otherwise, I'm going to guess. Right, I'm going to go. I don't know if it's just Mr. Pringles. I kind of like George. Not sure about Jack. Julius looks pretty good. I'm going to go. Oh, I nearly went Julius as well. Name this brand mascot for Honey Nut Cheerios. Don't know. Go Buzz the Bee. Got it right. Oh, that's Jeffrey. Toys R Us one is Jeffrey. Yeah, Lauren came in with Julius well after I messed it up. I know the giraffe is called Jeffrey from Toys R Us because I remember the adverts really, really well. I don't know the name of the lion for Metro Goldwyn Mayer. I didn't know it had a name. Does anyone know what the name is for Leo the lion? I mean, Leo the lion is kind of like what you would think Leo, you would think lions were. And maybe the people think Leo the lion because of this lion. So I'm gonna risk it with Mobius, who also says that he thinks it's Leo. Correct. Gold star for Mobius. That's got to be Little Caesar. Yeah? Little Caesar? Let's go for it. Yeah. Goldfish baked crackers. Don't know. Just want to get through this. So I'm going to go Finn. Some of you guys knew the insurance one last time, so I'm going to give this a couple of seconds and let me know if you know the brand mascot for AT&T. Again, it's an American one, so I don't know what that one is. I think we're nearly at the end of this. Which has been a while. I'm just going to guess. I'm going to go for this one. Nope, wrong. Oh, people are coming in just after I click. Just after I click, people are coming in with the right answers. Right, there's... Jeez, okay, so we've only got a few left. I don't know this this brand mascot for Mucinex. I'll go for... Doesn't look like a kernel. Well, it says Mr. Mucus on the cup, so let's go with that one. Name this brand mascot for Hawaiian Punch. Happy. Nope. Some of them are obvious and I'm just not getting them. Keebler Snacks. It's weird. I'm not like, I thought that the chat was like a little bit more up to date and was working a bit better, but I think it's still a bit of a delay between where I'm at and then when you guys hear me. He looks like an elf, so I'm going to go for Elvin. Nope. Name the brand mascot for the Fruit Stripe gum. So this is the last one. Yipes the zebra, Stripes the zebra, Hype the zebra, or it's not going to be Tripe the zebra. This is the last one, so I'm going to take whatever the first answer is that comes in the chat. That's what's going to be going there. Why is it on slow mode? You're right, it does say it's on slow mode. Although my stream latency says that it is on low latency. Interesting. Okay. I'll figure that out for next time. I'll look into that. I don't know why it's on slow mode. Because I deliberately wanted the live interaction with you guys. You know, I wanted the quick interaction. So the fact that you guys are having to wait, or maybe you're typing it in, but it's coming through slow to me so that I can keep up with the chat as to what's coming in. Anyway, we'll get there. We'll get there. So I'm just going to choose, because I know that you guys probably want to go. I didn't expect this to be such a long quiz. I didn't scroll. I should have scrolled through the page before I did that. So I'm going to go for Stripes. And I got it wrong. Last one. 66%. Average score 73. If that had been UK brands, I would have got it. But yeah, not the best. Not the best at all. So yeah. So that was, today was just to kind of have a quick overview of mascots, and what are they, what they're about, and rather than trying to go in and show you how to create one, it's more about what are they trying to do, what are they trying to achieve, and basically they're just trying to achieve that connection between the brand and us as people, because you don't, sometimes it's difficult. If you think about, some brands that don't have mascots, like so Apple, for example, they've got a really strong connection with their audience, and they've got huge brand loyalty, and they've done that through their marketing campaigns and targeting a certain sort of mindset and the way that people think. But a more direct way of doing it would be through attracting through brand mascots. And it may look like the easy route to take. Or we'll just create some fun, we'll create a fun mascot and do that. But, what you have to remember as well is that once you create a mascot to represent your brand, you are more or less going to be stuck with that. It would be difficult to rebrand, for example. You have to sort of take that mascot with you. I don't know of many brands that have had a very, very famous brand mascot and then just been able to move away from it. I'm sure there are some examples. If I look deep enough, I will find some, but it becomes your brand representative, and so you have to put everything into it. It has to be there, has to show up, and can't mess up. Your brand is going to have to live. Well, the mascot is imbuing your brand's values and vision, tone, all of that, and so you have to stick to that. Otherwise, if you start to change things, then you're changing the personality of that brand mascot, which would be unsettling for the people who've got used to seeing it and interacting with it and knowing what it's going to say, how it's going to act. If you can't then in the background change the core essence of your brand, like change the strategy of it all, because then you're changing the personality of this mascot. So you are tied to it. So it's one of the, it is a downside, I suppose. You are locked in with that. If you don't have a mascot and you've really just got a logo for your company, then that logo can evolve and you can change it, or you can completely redo it. You'd be like, yeah, we're just getting rid of that one and we're going to do a new logo, because your brand personality and communication is done through standard marketing. You're not using a figure to represent the brand. You're just doing it in other ways. And so you're not tied to anything the way you would be that you're tied to a mascot. But I would say that the benefits of having one, if it suits your brand, outweigh that negative stuff. You're going to have a better presence, especially, online and stuff, because you can have that character in, can change outfits, it suits, like, say, special occasions. So it can be really, really adaptable, and help your brand move into different spaces by using this brand character and dressing it up differently. Not changing its personality, but just dressing it up so that it suits the presence of where it is at that any given time. And I suppose as well, you just want it to be, you want that brand mascot to connect and look good and look fun. We've looked at a few that were scary, or I thought they were scary, quite frightening, but they stick in my mind. They make me remember what they're representing, where they're from, and so I suppose they're doing a job. And especially the sports ones. The sports ones are a different. We talked about this earlier on as well. Is that a sports mascot is kind of different to a mascot for a brand that's trying to sell a product or service. A sports mascot is very much in your face, interacting with a crowd that's got a lot of energy and buzz around it because they're supporting their team. So it's a different type of mascot. So you are going to have different criteria for that. Probably in some instances, the crazier the better, because it gets the audience and the supporters all fired up when it comes to brand mascots for, cereal and stuff, you don't want to go completely off the wall with it. You're trying to, a lot of brand mascots want to have more of a family feel, that fun, friendly look to it. So it's not going to be the same as a sports one. But yeah, it just comes down to your, what is the brand that you're trying to represent, and would a brand mascot, whether it be a logo or whether it be an actual figure, would it suit the brand? And that's the first question you have to ask yourself. You don't start with, I'm going to create a brand mascot no matter what, because it may have a detrimental effect if it doesn't really work for that. So you might just be better off going down the traditional route of a standard type of logo, that's going to help your marketing and help just, use colors and typography. And that's the thing that people will latch on to when they're, seeing the logo in conjunction with your other marketing and branding materials, and you work that way. And that's a, tried, tested, works as well. It's just probably not as fun as having a mascot that can run around and, be animated or be in print or be, a physical object that, that can be handled and, sold as another side of revenue, or to give away as free gifts, for promotional marketing materials in that way. But yeah, so that's sort of a quick overview of mascots. I'm thinking that what I'm going to do is, we've done a few live streams now, and it's good to kind of talk through these things. And I know I ramble a little bit and go a little bit off topic and start talking about strategy and other bits and bobs, but I think I find these useful. I love having you guys on. I love having people come in and ask questions and, be part of this. But it lets me talk through topics, and, what I will be doing is I will be creating more condensed, videos for the YouTube channel that cover these topics without, the 34 long quizzes that we're doing together. It'll be more just about the information about, what is a brand mascot, what are the different types, where would you use them, why would you not use them, and then same for, like last week's, which was, choosing fonts for logos. I will create videos of those, but at the same time, these lives are always going to be on the channel, and you can just skip through. I make sure when I list them the next day that I do put chapters in so people can kind of jump around and go to the bit that they want to watch. But Fuad's asking about when we're going to do logo critique. I am still working on it. I've got quite a lot going on right now, and I'm juggling a lot of things. So I have to prioritize, and the logo critique stuff it's high. It is high in my agenda, but the clients come above that. It might be that what I do is, rather than do these weekly, I might move to bi-weekly, and then that would maybe, give me time to look at setting up the logo critique stuff. But it is going to happen, Fuad. I know I say it every week, and that's like been a couple of months. It's just difficult for me to get all the time. Even there's some days where I'm like, I haven't really got the time to do live streams, but I don't want to let you guys down. And I do enjoy being on here, and I do enjoy talking about these topics. And, even if you come on or you watch a replay and you take one thing away from it, that's helpful to you, then that makes me happy. So I will do that. But they are, the logo critiques are coming. They are coming. I'm working on, right now, the Rock Your Brand website is just one page to sign up to the newsletter, which if you haven't done, you should do. But I am actually working on that to expand it a little bit, to make it more of a useful resource. So I want to put a couple of pages up there with software that I recommend, resources that I recommend, so that it becomes more of a portal for people to find useful stuff. And that's the site that I'm going to use to also accept submissions for logo critique on these live streams. So I am building it. It is underway. It's just taken me a bit longer than I thought it would. So Esteban's saying Google local bus Local bus company wants its Miko mascot characters named. Right. Hopefully this isn't going to be anything iffy. Oh, so they're using like... So they've got these characters for a bus company. Wow. Cool. Oh, I wasn't showing that on screen web. Yeah, so this is these characters represent a bus company, which is interesting. Anime type figures. I can never get the terminology right. I say anime or manga. That's probably just very European. They've probably got very different different names and stuff. Sidestep is what makes these live videos different. It's taking those tangents that on an edited video are impossible to include. Yeah, no, you're right, and I do tend to go off on a tangent, and I do, I try to get myself back on. I've got post-it notes posted around to try that I glance at and try and bring myself back on track to make sure that I get the topics finished, because I'm aware, you guys are on here live, so we're interacting a little bit, but for anyone that's watching the replay, maybe there's a little bit too much rambling going on. I don't know. I enjoy it, and the whole point of me doing these was that I could do them in whatever way I wanted, and I'm doing these primarily for you guys that are on here live, which is why I've said I will do edited video versions for anyone who's just doing YouTube searches or Google searches. I want these to be different. There's no point in me doing a live stream where I just talk as if it's an edited video and don't engage with you guys. There's no point in that. I wanted to I've been very aware that I hadn't created any videos for a long time, so I just wanted to, come on here and hopefully people could join each week. And not many, you don't get that many people coming on. I think we've got 8 people watching right now. It doesn't matter if one person comes on too. It's fine. I like to have that interaction. So I think what we'll do is we will call it a night or a day, wherever you are, and we'll be back next week. I'm not sure what the topic will be yet. What I'll do is I think I'll put up another poll. I'll put a poll on the community tab on the channel. I've started to use the community tab a bit more. I'm trying to remember that it's there rather than just saying, hey, there's a live stream tomorrow. I want to start to try to, do some stuff on there, make it a little bit more interesting. I'm not sure how the community channel works. If I post there, I think you maybe get a notification that I've posted something. I don't know. I'm just conscious I don't want to spam people's notifications by posting in there too much. But, you could always follow me on social and stuff as well, on Twitter, and I'm trying to use Instagram a bit more. Thanks for coming, Lauren. I appreciate it, and hopefully see you next week or in the coming weeks if you can't make it next week. Thank you for coming. And I'll say thank you to everyone else. Thanks for coming. You're absolute stars. Make sure you give yourself some gold stars if you were doing that quiz with me. And I will catch up with you all in the community tab or on Twitter. But I'll definitely see you here next Thursday. Okay? And as always, stay creative, folks. Bye for now.